Let me start with something uncomfortable for me and for others. Most business owners I meet are being spammed and losing money without even realizing it. And no, I'm not talking about those old emails we used to get from Nigeria telling us that we've won the lottery. Spam today is smarter, it's calmer, it's more believable, and that's exactly why it works. Spam is no longer just about asking you for a password. It's no longer badly written emails full of spelling mistakes. Today, spam is designed to look professional, trigger urgency, play on our egos, and exploit that FOMO feeling, the fear of missing out. So if you're one of those busy, stressed, running a business, self-employed freelancers, you are the perfect target. Now, at the 172 group, myself and Shari Wright Pilo, we work daily with SME owners, business owners, professionals, consultants, people who are smart but overloaded. And one thing is clear, the more overloaded and the more successful you appear to the outside world, the more attractive you are to scammers. Let me give you a real world example. In the UK this year, some of the biggest retail brands like Marks and Spencer's, Harrods, and others were hit by what seemed to be a very sophisticated cyber scam. Who was behind them? Mainly teenagers or those in their early 20s. Some of them literally learned their trade at home during the COVID lockdowns. They were bored, they could go online, they became highly skilled, but they were still gave the outside appearance of being the kid from next door. This wasn't amateur stuff. It was social engineering. They were using psychology, exploiting trust and distraction. Now, if global brands can be caught out like this, don't assume, therefore, that you're immune. We are all open to be played. Now, before we go into some practical tips, if this content helps you to stay safer, sharper, more in control of your business, please subscribe, because we are creating short, practical videos for SME owners wherever you are. No noise, no scare tactics, just clarity. And one little click is so more vital to us than you can realize. So help us to help you and press subscribe now, please. Much appreciated. So let's have a look at 4 tips. Here's a rule. If you're unsure, don't engage. I repeat, if you're unsure, don't engage. Be vigilant. Be vigilant. If you don't recognize it, don't touch it. Do not think, but what if it's genuine? Because that's exactly the sentence that scammers rely on. Many messages are written specifically to trigger FOMO. Last chance, final reminder, your account will be affected. You do not have to open an email, a message, or a letter just because it's addressed to you. So let me teach you a secret trick. Silence from you is also a very valid response. Tip number 2 is all about Google and ChatGPT. Now, let's just say you've opened the message, but something still doesn't feel quite right. Pause. Copy maybe a key phrase from the message, paste it into Google or Chat, and ask, is this a scam? Has anyone else received this? I'll give you a real example. I was repeatedly offered some extra Microsoft storage for only 30 shekels a month. It seemed harmless, and for some reason I agreed. Several months later, I was told that the price was jumping to 43 shekels, still not a lot of money. And the reason was because after years of loyal service, blah, 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 Microsoft red lights went off. I checked online. Within minutes, I'd cancelled my subscription. I also had to replace my credit card. Now, these were only small amounts, true, but multiplied over time, that's real money. Yep, I felt a fool, but I enjoyed the last laugh. Tip number 3. As I began to hint earlier, scams are no longer just on email. Now, this is important. Scammers are everywhere. LinkedIn, WhatsApp, podcast, calendars. Ironically, during the same week that I was canceling my credit card, I received an email inviting me onto a new podcast of all things, supposedly from another mentor. And this one really played to my ego. But I was on the alert. Things didn't line up. The email address didn't match the person's LinkedIn style. There was no formal signature on the email. There were lots of other subtle but significant tone mismatches. Everything must tick all the boxes. I blocked it. I suppose my supposed moment of fame on a podcast is now lost in cyberspace. How sad, but I feel safer. And then finally, we have to understand how scams seem to come in waves. They're almost like buses, nothing for ages and then three at once. Shortly after the podcast story, I received a WhatsApp message asking me when we could finally start mentoring sessions. Sounded positive, sounded familiar, but again, something felt off. Finally start mentoring sessions? But I didn't even know the person. I didn't engage. I reported it to WhatsApp. And that one decision has probably saved me a lot of time, stress, and assumedly money. Here's the rock bottom truth. All of us are gullible, some more naive than others. I'm happy to admit I've been suckered before. That's exactly why I'm sharing this. The strategy to get over this is very simple. 24/7 vigilance without paranoia. Pause, check, look at patterns. Trust the patterns, not the pressure. Now, if sharing my mistakes helps the 172 community avoid the same traps, then it's worth it for me. In my next video, we're going to be looking at how we tackle time management, why SME owners feel permanently busy, permanently behind, and permanently stressed and are then open to scammers, and what we can do to change that scenario. Don't miss it, and I look forward to you subscribing, and then we'll see you again next week.